All right. Oh my God, the camera turned on. It said three, two, one. What am I going to talk about? I don't have anything to talk about. I don't even talk like this. I don't talk like this. I talk like this. Let me tell you. So if we're gonna have, something or other, it's important. It's vital. This and that. Come on, bear with me here. All right, because it's just you. All right, it's just you and me. All right. So the topic for this video. All right. Feeling good, feeling like expressing myself. Isn't that nice that we have the internet and we can express ourselves, right? Meet each other in life. All these years I've been trying to make this video, and what I need is the computer laptop, get the gaming laptop. I need a good camera. Costs a pretty penny, but at a good budget, you can get what you need, just to get things going. This video quality here takes us back to when? 2011, 2010, high school. The topic for today is what is with these videos that I'm making? What is with these videos? The nature of these videos are rather odd. Not to say that they're not serious. They're certainly serious. Not to say that they're not, let's say, unique, right? But they are also somewhat borderline on unintelligible. Right? Both because of seemingly my limited vocabulary, trying to hold myself to certain words that had certain definitions for me. All right, so when it comes to my videos, we got to break down what we mean by love, what we mean by intelligence, what we mean by joy, what we mean by freedom. All right, because it's like, these words get thrown around everywhere, and it's like you can't find joy, you can't find freedom. All right, you can find pleasure to an extent unimaginable. The human being, perhaps myself, right? Being the human being. The human being, right? Follow me here. Finds himself, right? Turning to pleasure in the face of fear. Yeah. And so, I was hanging out with some middle school friends the other day. And went to Twin Peaks. So what is Twin Peaks? It's kind of like a Hooters thing. There's some drinks, some food. It was the Eastern Conference Finals of the NBA, which has raised young men for decades now. The NBA, all right? How many young men don't know the names of these rosters of these athletes, right? And so it matters to us a bit, right? And so, it reminded me of that, as a teenager, the academic thing was like, all right, I got that. I could take care of that. So if I step off it a bit, it'll be okay. What I want to do is make music, right? And make serious music. At the same time, the plight of the musical artists of the 20th century, and before, I don't know, creative people who end up consumed with themselves in addiction, right? That became apparent to me as a teenager, and it began to reflect in my life. Yes, it did. And so, that's kind of what I was enjoying myself with. I guess I have to go to school for the next many years, so I'll get by. If I need to put the step on the pedal back in school, I will. But, I began to think, well, maybe not, So what? So if you're 13, 14, what are you going to do? Maybe by the time I'm 18, go to Los Angeles, go to Hollywood, just do auditions or something like that. Meet some people, meet a bunch of people, take a guitar, go. But that didn't happen by 17, 18. That didn't happen. And school, was just getting by, and but at the same time in high school, searching for some sort of practice that could enable a sense of well-being, a sense of independence, a sense of responsibility, right? I came upon the work of who? Of the guy who Bruce Lee took really seriously. All right, so if Bruce Lee took this guy seriously, who is this guy? All right? And, I began to take myself seriously. And, it's important in life not to take oneself so seriously. That's this video here, right? It's one of those kind of videos. It's a difficult video to make because, well, if we fast forward today, I am a practicing attorney. All right? And that's why I can't be talking shit on the internet. All right? Not that, in today's age, you won't find some incredibly successful attorney with a podcast or whatnot. But, usually speaking, they're going to be a little toned down. All right? And that's the older attorneys. I'm a younger attorney who has solutions to these problems that we're facing when it comes to the legal industry, right? Not that they have not been ignored. Not that they have not been set aside. Not that they have not been, and not that they won't be successful in due time. Successful means all of the principles that, the human being would like to have when it comes to a sense of justice, a sense of all that. We can go on about that. But let's get back to this here. Okay, let's get back to this here. This video is not so serious. See, it's difficult. It's hard. It's hard not to switch back and forth. It really is. Because once I found that degree of seriousness, that nothing can touch, nothing can break it. You see? Quality of which has no boundaries to it. Right? It led me in a few directions. It led me into that's the interest of the scientist. It's not the scientist, in particular the physicist, who is studying the fundamental elements of science, which then become more and more, let's say, less fundamental. I'm going to get into it. What I'm trying to say is this. All right? The point is, this degree of seriousness is one that is ready to risk, to sacrifice things like fame and notoriety. All right, Andy Warhol was good friends with Velvet Underground and Lou Reed, who, as a teenager in the mid-2000s, I was like, what is this? I like this. All right. So Andy Warhol, Lou Reed, and them, right? Andy Warhol, what was his famous quote? He said, in the future, or something like that, everyone will have their 15 minutes of fame. Which is, this video is going to be 15 minutes long. All right? And that stage we're living in. Not serious people. Being very famous. Very notorious. All right? Let's not even get into the richness. It's entirely unsustainable. That's a sign. A sign of something serious. All right? When you have working families, when you have a growing population of disaffected youth, when you have a growing population of older people who have no savings heading into retirement, when you have a technology so sophisticated that rips the utility of one another in terms of exchanging money for value, for labor, for effort, and even entertaining people. All right? It's a problem. And it takes a degree of seriousness. The same degree of seriousness that it takes for me to consider that drugs and alcohol wouldn't be a part of my daily life. Right? That it's not going to fit at any one point in time in my daily life. Because, imagine, I'm at a point where, you know, I've taken it upon myself, right? Because we're hanging out with the guys from, middle school. Now we're in our 30s, and it's like, throughout that whole span of time, where everybody from my neighborhood, from my, area or whatnot, and here in Miami, Florida, right? Generally went in the same direction of what it is that can be reasonably expected of oneself and of the world. I went one other way. And so, of course, it's going to be difficult. Of course, it's going to be challenging when, when trying to make headway into being able to communicate this across and having people see for themselves what I'm talking about. It's different. It's a whole another layer of attention that's required. A degree of attention that is only really given to people who have money, right? People who have influence and power. That's the only way that people are gonna, and not even then, because you got a whole circle of people with influence and power. Come on. What I'm trying to say is this, right? What I'm trying to say is, right now, heading into the next few years, right? I'm losing my youth, right? So the entirety has to be let back. Behind the entirety. It's difficult sometimes to look at the past and think, how can people have not seen this or that? You're like, damn, the hell. And let me tell you, they didn't. And they won't, unless they have to, unless there's a big ass problem that they're facing, right? That we're all facing, right? But moving forward, all right, they've got a great opportunity. I've got a few pieces. I've got to work with, to introduce me very conveniently. Everything's set. All right. I've taken this to a networking meeting. It was every Monday. It's perfect. Every Monday, a group of people want to do startups who can join a program, apply for it, get going, get discussion going about the landscape of technology, business, and and whatnot. Man, I'm coming in with a straight shooter. How did I learn that? Well, I learned that by listening to Bruce Lee. But by listening to Bruce Lee, I mean, of course I never met Bruce Lee. But it took practicing Bruce's art, right? And it took practicing Bruce's art to learn about Bruce. And about, the circumstances of his life in the mid-60s to late 60s, right? Early 70s even. Early 70s, we're talking an actor who, I've met some actors who were about as famous as Bruce Lee at that time, like at anime conventions and stuff, right? But the Bruce Lee that we got to know when he died, right, that level of fame, well, that's a whole nother level. Right? But that's not my interest. That has very little to do with the Bruce Lee who, was able to really access that quality. Let's end it with this here. A mental quality, a mental acuity. Right, it's very important. All right, because we got to stay sharp in today's day and age where things are difficult. A mental acuity that, if you can for yourself, imagine interception. Can you feel out that quality? That shape, the shape of interception, the feeling of it, the point in time of it, a sense of it, a feel for it. Right? Not to get too esoteric, but feeling out this quality for oneself could lend oneself to even begin to fathom. What's it gonna take? As to what? that's something that, you know, you got to keep watching the videos to figure out or something. I don't know. And you can pay me. You can do a paywall. And you can buy a T-shirt. You can buy. All right, this one's going up soon. This one's going up now. You know why? Because the way I'm feeling now, feeling good. When I'm feeling now, I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling like, you know what? She's watching. Yeah, she's watching. She's watching. The mystery continues. The mystery unfolds. Oh yeah. So that's the thing about life. It's a mystery, and it unfolds. You know, it unfolds and unfolding. That'll be next time.